Hello, but I hope we're all doing well. Welcome back to more CSGO news. Been a long weekend. I hope you guys all enjoyed yours. I enjoyed seeing my family. I'm enjoying being back though already for more CSGO news. There should be at least 2 CSGO videos today, as well as throughout the entire week. And if you guys were here this past weekend, some great things going on as per usual in the Counter-Strike scene. But one big topic of debate has now resurfaced ever since February, where sources were actually alleging that Valve's profit from CSGO alone in 2018 being over $400 million. Hossie himself brought this back to light and brought with it some debate out there. Of course, Elige also added to this with his tweets, and now everyone out there adding their opinions on whether or not CSGO should add crowdfunding or more things like the International in Dota 2, which is Valve's other baby, and many of us know Valve's favorite baby, so it seems. And so with everyone else out there giving their opinions on the case, I thought I might give you guys my thoughts on this. Very short, very sweet. You guys can leave your thoughts down below as well. I think Elige, though, really kind of hit the nail on the head for a lot of players out there, that one thing is that, you know, majors are not necessarily the value they used to be. They're not the notoriety they used to be in terms of course, winning the major does make you the solidified best team for maybe a few months, but in terms of prize pool and sticker money, it's not what it once was. We all know the community market out there. The stickers are certainly over flooded and of course oversaturated with how many there are in the game right now, so players are not making nearly as much as we probably think they do. I tried to, you know, break down the amount that players were making based off Elige's tweet, but nonetheless, we all know that in terms of notoriety and of course in prize pool, majors are not that far off from big CSGO events, right? You have your dream hacks, you have of course your ESL colognes, which many of us out there think is a very high priority event, and you know, you have Blast Pro events. If you win a Blast Pro event, you're pretty much solidified as a major contender. But you guys know what I mean. There are several events because, of course, CSGO is one of the most well-known tournament scenes out there in the world. There are several events which are on par or just nearly on par. I would say, you know, $500,000, $300,000 in terms of overall prize pools, which is still pretty comparable to $1 million prize pool where the winner usually takes home $500,000. So in terms of other placing teams out there, other big events have great notoriety, maybe not as much viewership, but still, I would say, are really close to the major in terms of Valve's other child, that being, of course, the International, where you have one event each year, which is far above and beyond and is one of the biggest esports prize pool events every single year, and has actually broken that record several times over. And if that is true, if Valve is actually making $400+ million out of Counter-Strike, and they were giving what, $1 or $2 million a year for a couple majors, of course, or whatever other funding they do give out, that is absolutely shocking. And yes, I will say one thing for Dota 2, they do crowdfund. They sell a battle pass. They give a lot of great opportunities for the community out there to actually source and fund their favorite pro event each year, that being the International. I think it's a great statue, a great model for them to have over there. But the fact that you were making $400+ million in revenue, yes, we don't know how much exactly is profit, but I think we can all safely assume they're not spending $400 million on Counter-Strike, currently. So with that being said, they are making plenty of money and not shilling out nearly that much when it comes to actual CSGO events out there. And I think in terms of standards of what we expect for the future, especially compared to Dota 2, it would make perfect sense for majors to increase that prize pool even just by a couple of million. So my short and sweet answer for all of you guys, yes, I do think prize pools should increase. Maybe start out with 3 million. If you look back to the first International back in 2013, they were just shy of 3 million, and then they skyrocketed out to tens and tens of millions of dollars, which I don't necessarily think is a healthy model. I think a lot of players out there would also agree. Yes, players would love to have the international competition because they can make a lot more money, but I think a lot of players deep down would know it might not be the best tactic for a game like CSGO. Because once you do that, once you start crowdfunding for CSGO, there will always be a point in the future where you can easily see a game and it's dying, if it is dying, because, you know, last year for Dota 2, there was at one point they were not sure if they could actually surpass their latest international prize pool. They did break 25 million for 2018, but then going forward, they are on pace to break it for 2019. But what if it does eventually become the year where you cannot continue to break the successive amounts, and all of a sudden you have a public information, a public source out there where you know your game is slowly dying? Not a great look for the game. And with that being said, you know, you can only crowdfund for so long. I think it's great what Dota has done, but can all the games out there do it? I don't think so. And especially when it comes to a game like CSGO, if you crowdfund so heavily without a cap the first few years, you can really screw yourself down the line. And also with that being said, if you're going to make this international such a big event, you're easily going to have teams skipping events all around the CSGO International because they're prepping and preparing for that one single event. And so it could definitely hurt and hinder all the other competitive scenes out there here for CSGO, in my opinion. So with all that being said, I think it's fairly obvious what Valve's favorite child is, that being Dota 2. Although, yes, it is crowdfunded, majority of it, it's still Valve giving a contribution of their own for prize pools, which is much larger than they do for CSGO Major. So it's a bit odd, especially because both their games are pretty heavy cash cows, especially Counter-Strike, and especially their third baby, that being Steam, they make plenty of money off of. It's very surprising they're not giving more money to CSGO Majors to differentiate those events from other CSGO events out there in terms of notoriety. So my opinion, again, really curious what you guys think about this, because the topic is so extensive. There's so much background, details, and evidence as to what you might think would be the best for CSGO. I would say start off with $3 million. It's a pretty darn big increase, and it's still a very, very large prize pool. And then maybe make it $5 million and cap it there at $5 million, and then successfully grow healthily. Make sure you're growing in a healthy fashion, unlike international, where it kind of just took off all of a sudden. Yes, they are still keeping up with all of that stuff, but there's going to be a breaking point when it comes to Dota 2 where it's not very healthy the way they are doing things. So I think a lot of us can agree that prize pools do need to be increased. Now the question is, what do you guys think it should be increased by? 1 million, 2 million, 5 million? Should we have a $20 million event? Either way, with that being said, guys, Valve is doing great things, and I hope they do respond to all of this and eventually give us some bigger prize pools for their majors. As always, my name is Jake. I hope you guys all enjoy. I'll be back here all day long with more esports news, and until then, take care.